This cargo camper was built with the intention of boondocking and camping, but we didn't end up taking it out as much as we planned. For a while, it just sat on our driveway, but I'll show you where it's at now and how it's held up. We've recently bought some land and started making some improvements on it, like building this shed and drilling a well. All of this is with the intention of building out an orchard and exploring permaculture and agroforestry practices. This shed has held up nicely and has been great for storing simple items for the orchard, like shovels and hoses and whatnot. Now that we've got the storage for some of these tools, we spent more time working up here. So we decided this would be a great place to use the cargo camper. So we towed it out to the property. This has become a great way to make our trips out to the property more comfortable. Now we can get out of the elements, have a toilet and shower, and running water. It's become our little home away from home while we're working on things for the orchard. And for the most part, it's worked out better than expected. I've been really impressed with how well this solar system has held up. We don't have a lot of draw on it, so we've never run out of power. The insulation has performed really well too. It gets pretty cold out here in the winter, and we've got to prove that this installation really works. We just run a little portable buddy heater for a little bit, and it stays warm for hours. We drilled a well on the property, so it's easy to fill the water tank in the camper, and basically boondock on the property without hauling water. We also fill this 5,000 gallon tank up, so we can use it for irrigation. Then from this tank, we run some lines to the orchard and use gravity to deliver the water. We even built this little chain link fence dog run so the dogs can hang out while we're working out here. I'll show you how we built it later in the video. The view from the front of this trailer is really incredible. I really can't get enough of the view of these valleys and the mountains. You can see for miles and miles from the top of this hill. Inside the camper, this countertop has been put to the test. It's usually covered with food and supplies and everything else. I'll say that the little 12-volt refrigerator was a little disappointing. I left it on after a trip and it burned out. For now, we'll just use ice chests and I'll appreciate the extra storage space. I do wish we would have gone with a bigger sink. This little one never quite seems to be big enough, and water tends to spray out when we're doing dishes. The light and ventilation from this window is great. The shower and toilet have been amazing to have. I just can't say enough about how comfortable they've made these trips. The shower's been great, and I've managed to get the hot water working pretty consistently now. There's still the whole process of dumping the black tank, but we're looking into a good way to get a septic system out here so we can just dump it without taking it off the property. But that's got a whole bunch of permitting steps that are going to make that take forever. I was really happy we put these hooks on the wall. They give us a great place to hang bags, jackets, and towels. We got 2 on each wall and 1 on the other side of the shower. We keep the dog bed pressed up against the wall when they're not hanging out on it. This bed has worked out really well. It's a queen size bed pressed up into the corner, so it's a little cozy, but it's worked out well for my wife and I. I really love these 2 windows on either side of the bed. They give great ventilation and light. It looks a little messy, but since 3.5 sides of this bed are up against the wall, it's really hard to make it. The table is nice for dinner or just hanging out with the back doors open, but it's usually in the bed configuration. It's pretty easy to swap it back and forth, but sometimes we're just a little lazy. Having the camper out here really lets us make use of this big, open, natural area. The build for the dog run was really straightforward. Just had to dig a few holes and cement in these poles. After that, we just rolled out the chain link fence and secured it to the poles. The only specialty tool we needed was this fence pillar to make sure we got the fence nice and tight. These top posts connect to the corner posts to keep the whole fence in place. All that was left is to add a little gate, and now the pups have a nice place to hang out. I've got some shade cloth I put on the back fence when the sun's out in the summertime, and I'll probably put something more permanent as we come out here more. The whole area is about 20 feet by 15 feet, so it's a pretty good space for the dogs. Maybe someday we'll trust these dogs to hang out with us out here without a leash, but there's a lot of wildlife and a lot of room to run, so for now, anytime they're off leash, they're in here. Here's Max chilling in the shade and Nova keeping an eye out for us. They got comfortable in here pretty quick, but they'd still rather be hanging out with us. Having this camper out here has given us the ability to come out, do some work on the orchard, and have a place to clean up and rest afterwards. There's nothing like clearing some brush or working on some irrigation and having a place to shower when you're done. Having a nice, comfortable place to stay makes it way easier to come out and spend some time on the property. We planted the first few trees out here with some simple irrigation. These olive, peach, and plum trees have been much easier to keep an eye on when we have a little home base. Soon we'll be planting more and improving the irrigation. We're hoping this becomes a nice, productive orchard that we learn a lot from. I'll be making some videos about the orchard and all the work that's going into it. I'm very excited to get a bunch more trees out here and make it a cozy spot with a beautiful view. I hope you'll follow along. I'm sure the camper will be a central part of making this happen. I'm really glad we brought it up here.